Hello, I am Russell Wheatland. I am the convener of the Australian Panel B1, responsible for insulated cables. Today I have the privilege of making this report to the ATC on the activities of both the Seagrey Study Committee and the Australian Panel over the last 12 months. Seagrey's structure has 16 different study committees covering all topics in the electrical power system. Study Committee B1 is the committee of Seagrey covering underground and submarine, AC and DC insulated cable systems. The scope of work of Study Committee B1 covers the entire life cycle of a cable system. There are 3 preferential subjects designated for 2022. All of the activities for the Study Committee are centred around these 3 subjects: learning from experiences, future functionalities and applications, and towards sustainability. Seagrey brings together the international network of technical expertise. The Insulated Cables Study Committee B1 has been there since 1927, covering all types of cables at all voltages, expertise in design, manufacture, installation, testing, and condition monitoring. International working groups are the powerhouse of Seagrey. Currently in Study Committee B1, there are 20 active working groups and 2 task forces, and I'm pleased to report that Australia and New Zealand have representatives on 15 of these 22. The Seagrey Paris session for 2020 needed to go online due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Study Committee B1 meeting was held over 2 days, 2 6-hour meetings, and timed around Central European time, which meant some late nights and some very early mornings here in Australia. But as you can see, it was still a collection of a wide spread of technical expertise from around the world. There were 46 papers presented through pre-recorded slideshows by the authors. Along with Andre Cuppen from New Zealand, I hosted the online Q&A sessions for the first paper presentation session. One of the papers, Session 4, Paper B1 310, was authored and presented by an Australian B1 panel member. Well done to Jeff Cairns from Transgrid. The paper presentation sessions went without a glitch, a very professionally executed delivery. Nothing like being there in person, but as good as it could be. The AU panel currently has 33 members, with 6 new representatives joining over the last 12 months. The AU panel has representatives from both Australia and New Zealand. There is considerable cable activity throughout the countries. The panel believes that there is a need in the industry to educate people on the basics of cable technology and to establish links between these people and the expertise of Seagrey. In the majority, these people deal with cables every day, but yet have very little understanding of what makes up a reliable cable installation. The panel had plans to run a 2-day cable conference, possibly in multiple cities, presenting a series of short presentations on a wide range of subjects. However, with COVID-19 travel restrictions, we were forced to go online. We held our first web shoot in July, a tutorial format offering opportunities for questions and answers. These were well received. An exciting change is the establishment of the New Zealand B1 Mirror Panel, moving away from industry interest groups to the more structured mirror panel format of Seagrey. To help with the flow of information to and from the study committee, we have invited the New Zealand B1 convener and secretary to become members of the AU B1 panel. Quickly moving through the activities within each state, we start with Western Australia. Removing redundant, leaking, oil-filled cables posed some real significant environmental challenges for the activities where the cable crossed the Swan River. 132 kV cable continues to grow in number and criticality. A common trend across the world when it comes to refurbishing or developing land is to remove overhead lines and replace them with underground cables. Queensland is such a large state, nearly 6 times that of Italy, that it is separated into 4 main areas. Again, the theme continues of replacing overhead lines with underground cables. With the main sub-transmission voltage being 132 kV, it is being utilised to replace those overhead wires and also connect solar and battery systems to the grid. In South Australia, there are some major renewable energy connections being made. Batteries are being installed to support the networks throughout the country. Batteries are also being used to support remote townships in the event of disconnection from the grid. Some significant projects are underway throughout New South Wales. The Powering Sydney's Future program is seeing the installation of large cross-sectional area cables under some main thoroughfares throughout Sydney. The Snowy Mountains Upgrade Project 2.0 will see an expansion of the existing hydro generation storage system. With the Snowy Mountains being located between Sydney and Melbourne, it offers direct electricity support to the two main Australian CBDs. Innovation using distributed acoustic sensing has been successfully applied along the corridor of a 330 kV circuit and was reported at this year's Paris E-session. Victoria is no stranger to wind and solar farms. In the past, these farms have been connected to the grid via overhead lines. Now the connections are more being placed underground as the groundswell of community support to retain the natural vegetation and treescape continues. Australia's first offshore wind farm will be located in Bass Strait between Victoria and Tasmania. The onshore cable system alone has an estimated 1,100 kilometres of 275 kV cable core. The increased use of condition assessment testing is showing significant advantages in ensuring only quality installations are accepted into the networks while also reducing in-service failures. Melbourne seems to be in a constant state of flux as governments seek to upgrade both rail and road systems that are inadequate for today's population and commerce. Substations within the CBD are being upgraded to deliver the ever-increasing power requirements. The CBD is fed from three main transmission stations, two of which have been completely rebuilt over the past 8 years, with the third one at West Melbourne being approximately 60% complete. Tasmania. Again, maintenance programs on installed circuits continue to present challenges, either from subsea cables that are damaged by passing ship anchors or cross-bonding link boxes that leak water and destroy themselves. Tasmania is seen as the second battery for Australia's East Coast electricity supply, along with the Snowy Mountains scheme in New South Wales, because of its abundant hydroelectric scheme. There is currently one interconnector to the mainland called Basslink, and now a second link, Marinus, is proposed at 1,500 megawatts. New Zealand. There is limited capital work being undertaken on the transmission network. A relatively new circuit has developed a sheath insulation resistance fault, and during investigation it has become abundantly obvious that the circuit is suffering from poor installation works practices and in some cases poor joint bay support design. This is not the first instance of this failure mode that the Australian panel has been involved in. Again, even after only a short period in comparison to the works in Victoria, New Zealand are seeing that the increased use of condition assessment testing is showing significant advantages in ensuring only quality installations are accepted into the network, while also reducing in-service failures. Thank you for your attention.